Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, finally, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It feels like an eternity since the last time we sat in this studio. In fact, the amount of things that's happened at Celtic Football Club since the last time we sat in this studio, well, it's a podcast in itself. But we're going to try and skip a lot of it. I'm going to come to my guests in a moment. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, please make sure to go and rate us 5 stars. It's good to be back. And if you're watching the video version, you'll notice we're a slight angle today. I've decided to try and fresh things up, purely due to the fact we set up for 2 cameras. One of the SDs is just refusing to cooperate, so we've winged it, and this is how it looked. But talking about good looks, the guests beside me. Dylan.
I did a wee wink.
Don't worry, cheeky. How you doing?
I'm alright, man. I'm alright. How are you? All good?
We cussed Rodgers the last time.
I can't believe that, man. We got back and we seen it. I was like, just put it in the chat. I was like, Rodgers is away, and I was like, when I first seen it, I was like, I thought it was fake. And I was like, we've literally just come back for the podcast.
I know. Like,
so what a waste of time.
And as I said to you just before we started recording this, I'm so glad that for the Thunder Club that night we were talking about, if Rodgers went, who should be the next? Because if we didn't, it would have been a waste of time coming out here that night.
Because we were all shit. We were all, I'd be shocked if he was away after the Rangers game on Monday. Monday that night.
Gone. So, I mean, that was, I can't even think how many weeks ago exactly that was now, but I mean, ever since we've had Falkirk, we've had the League Cup, we've had European games, we've had obviously the weekend that's just passed, we're now into an international break. It feels like chaos, Dylan, but we'll come to it in depth. What I will ask you, just to start off, is how are you feeling as a Celtic supporter?
It's a weird one again. It's like quite mixed in it, but I mean, after you beat Rangers, you always feel a wee bit better, don't you? So I'd say about 75.
Going to 100.
I don't know. I think that's the only way I can kind of explain how I feel.
You're the first person I've ever heard to choose 100 out of 10.
Out of 10. I don't know why I did that to me.
Oh, do you know what? Who cares? Yeah. And to the other side of it is a man who's not been on in ages, because we've just generally not been on ages, and he wasn't here last time. It's a Mr. Calum. Craig, how you doing?
Okay, good to be back. Obviously a lot's happened since I was last on, but also we've been active with our chats and whatnot and speaking about it. It's used to be good back talking about Celtic, but it's kind of still strange times, it feels.
Very strange times. I like the WrestleMania hat.
Thank you. From yourself.
Very nice. But you've not been on in like absolute weeks. Can you even start to believe what we've went through? Like, did you see any of this coming, really?
No, not at all. I think also there was murmurs within folks saying, about Rodgers shaky results. It's not really been there. And obviously, as Dan touched on, we said, could come to next Monday after the Rangers game and could be him away. You don't know, but
didn't even make it.
Didn't even make a training session of the week.
And of course, we were in Denmark. Mm-hmm. You enjoyed Denmark apart from the result?
Result aside, I thought brilliant. Get more things to do, yeah. Get a zoo or something, Herning.
I mean, just to clarify for anybody who might not be quite fully clear on where we were in this wee town called Herning, which I believe the population is something like 50,000 people, which is like, I think that is, I don't know what Coatbridge's population is, but it's no, I can't think it's too far off, maybe.
About now, fast.
And oh man, Dylan used to say that it was like one high street with the shops and the pubs, and it's just like houses just around about it. That's it. It was totally. It was quite nice though. It was clean.
As long as there is an Irish pub, as you did fin it.
Was there 2?
There was 2. One of them was shut, but it was only opens on a Friday and a Saturday. Like, you must get some amount of business if you can operate 2 days a week.
They must have a lockdown on the small Irish population. They must be loyal. But it was a great trip. We're back. Of course, result wasn't great. We might talk about that at some point during this. ladies and gents, we have a lot to cover because we haven't been here for weeks, but we're going to try our best to avoid the same conversations that we've probably had in our own podcasts, such as myself and podcasts you've heard everywhere else. We'll try and keep things spicy enough for you. Remember, if you're a Thunder Club member, you can have some extra chat. We're going to be talking about more of the Celtic managerial situation and that today, and of course talking about your questions and all the other shite that we talk about on there. So if you want to become a Thunder Club member, you know how to do that and where to do that down below this video. Shall we talk about Celtic then? Because that is obviously the reason that we're here. We're going to talk about managers and who we all want as a manager and who the candidates are in the second half of the show. For the first half of the show, I think it's more important to just kind of talk about the latest with the club and the situation that we currently find ourselves in. Your general feeling about Martin O'Neill and what he's done to steady this ship. Dylan, I'll start with you. It's been a very tough few weeks for Celtic. The, of course, shock announcement that Rodgers was leaving the club, Martin O'Neill being ushered into power and having 10 minutes to make up his mind, a League Cup semi-final, a huge European game which didn't obviously go to plan. There's been ups and there's been downs. It's been hectic. But what has been your general feelings about the few weeks with Martin O'Neill in charge and where we are?
I mean, I'd just like to bring this up. I said this to you in the chat. See, when we did the Thunder Club, I was like, how's Martin O'Neill still an option? Right? This was not a disrespectful thing, by the way, to Martin O'Neill. This was purely because of the age. And he was a pundit in the talk sport. I was like, that's a surprise that he's even like me. But don't get me wrong, it's been so cool. I think, me personally, I think seeing Martin O'Neill in the dugout is always quite a cool wee moment because, like, your dad and, like, it's like just his time in that, and it's like, you know, all the stuff he's done in the years for Celtic. So I think in a weird way, it was quite a smart thing to do, bringing Martin O'Neill in, considering where everybody was and like how we were all feeling towards the club and stuff. So it kind of brought a wee bit more joy and excitement back to to Celtic. Cause I remember going to, like, was it the Falkirk game?
Falkirk,
and I was like, you were actually kind of like, oh, I need to go to the Falkirk game. You're a wee bit like doing about it. But when Martin O'Neill came in, I was like, oh, this is going to be quite cool. So and then I got the result, and then going into the Rangers game, you see his passion and the stress right enough as well. But it was cool to see Martin O'Neill in, and I think Sean Mahoney's done quite a good job so far. So fair play to both of them. But I guess we'll just see how it goes now, because obviously we're seeing they're going to be in talks with the two of them to see the future and stuff. But so far it's been, other than the European stuff, but there's not really much they could do about that. So.
Well, I mean, you put European football aside for a moment, that's a whole different story, and I think it was going to take a lot more than just Martin O'Neill to salvage a result in Denmark and salvage this European run that we're on. But you take that aside for a moment, the first thing he had to do was come in and start Celtic, you know, winning games in the league again, because we were dropping points, silly drop points, you know, Tynecastle, Dens Park, places where Celtic should be going and winning, and he was tasked with just bringing back a sense of winning, a sense of better football, and he's delivered on that so far. Have you seen enough improvement within the Celtic side to believe that the ship is now steadied, at least domestically, under O'Neill?
Oh, definitely. I think after you seen Rodgers leaving, you just feared the worst. Like, it was already in a bad state, but fair play, the two of them have come in, and I feel like this is, like, if you offered me that at the start, you'd take it no bother. Like, beating Rangers, it's the first time in a while we've beat them, and then pretty convincing. Obviously, second half was a bit dodgy, but that's expected, I guess, when Rangers had to go for it. But you got the result there, and then the two home games, you said, we've dropped silly points. Like, you've seen it at Hibs at home this season, so to win the two games 4-0, so it was quite comfortable, and it was good to see a wee bit more excitement, and I feel like you could see it in the players as well. Just feel like it was a bit more energy, a bit more urgency, so I guess it was good to see that, and it's been good so far.
Calum, I don't want to get dragged too much into the old. I want to talk about the new. So I mean, we can sit here and we can talk about Rodgers and his departure, but a bit out from that now, so there's not really much of a point. But one thing that is probably undeniable amongst everything is that the football was getting to a point of staleness that was concerning. Something had to change, and I think the fear was that this squad maybe weren't good enough in general, that it was going to be hard for anybody to kind of maybe get a tune out of them. But O'Neill's came in, he scored a lot of goals against Falkirk, scores 3 against Rangers, he gets a lot at the weekend, I guess another 4 at the weekend as well. What would your general thoughts on the football and how that's changed? Has Martin O'Neill done enough for you to bring back a joy in watching Celtic again by simply just making this team more direct and from stopping the side to side? Is that joy back for you?
Oh, definitely. I think it sounds so daft, but see the difference between just cutting out one pass. For example, if it comes into Scales and it's going out to the right back, you don't need to use the extra centre half and go there, just go. And it's so daft for me to say that's what makes it enjoyable, but it just makes everything so much quicker now. The balls, like, even from set pieces, we would do it no matter what, where you get the ball, try and get it down and move it. But even if it meant giving back one pass and you're forward straight away, it was so much better. instead of this like the horseshoe kind of style we were playing in. I think we're seeing, I don't want to say so much just for Calum McGregor, but he seemed a wee bit more positive in it. He's want to take the ball and actually drive a bit more. He's not want to sit between the two centre halves and try and cover them, that kind of Scott Brown role, if you will. But no, I think we're definitely seeing them players benefit from it. I think we're also especially probably Kenny, I think it's probably been the bigger one for it.
Great example.
Just being able to have that freedom to just go for those runs in behind, because under Rodgers, even if you had that, we weren't really looking for that, because we'd rather, instead of looking for that one ball over the top, we'd rather let's try and play 4 or 5 passes through instead. It's becoming stale. But no, I think Martin's definitely brought a bit of positivity back to the team at field.
It's something the next manager, whoever it might be, and whenever that decision is made, will definitely, it'll make their job easier, won't it? Because I think whoever was destined to follow Brendan Rodgers, if they had to follow in straight after that, it would probably be harder to change everything, whereas Martin O'Neill's kind of stripped them back to the basics. And if you think, and maybe this is just me, I don't know, but if you're looking at it from a case of a manager comes in, I think it's going to be easier to mould them into what you want when they have been stripped back to basics, rather than being drilled into playing how Rodgers has. So maybe, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of looking at this as maybe a bit of a, and I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I don't know if I would have said this weeks ago or whatever, but maybe this is a bit of a blessing in disguise, the fact that we have got a wee bit of a break between managers so that we can just reset and it's an easier job for who comes in.
Definitely. I think, as you said, say, obviously I know we'll come on to the kind of the names that are of the talking points, but if it was whoever came in, you're right into that, and not saying it's different because it's Martin, but if you come in, you don't get a result, everybody's hounding you straight away, and you're like, well, they've just played this style of football for the last 3 years. Like, you need to give them a bit of time to work with this.
Aye.
But I think, as Dylan touched on, I think Sean Maloney's kind of flew under the radar a wee bit.
Yeah.
Obviously Martin's came in, he's dealt with the kind of the pressers side of it and done that, and it's just left Maloney the chance to just go and work with the players and kind of, as you said, strip them back to the basics. But sometimes that's what you need with football. Like, it doesn't need to be so like over the top. It can be something as simple as play 3 passes and see if you get a ball at the top, go and try it. Oh, it doesn't work, that's fine, go and win the ball back, start again.
Aye. I mean, that's, Maloney is somebody who probably deserves some flowers for what we've delivered domestically as well. I mean, is there, I mean, Dylan, I'm not going to change my tune on things. I still think it's disgraceful the way that Kennedy was treated upon his exit, but it doesn't take away from the fact that maybe, just maybe, it was time for wide changes across the whole coaching department. We've brought in Mark Fotheringham, of course, who's, you know, a living meme. Guys, he's great, guys. We've brought in, you know, of course, Sean Maloney, who is a very well-respected coach, not so much manager, but coach anyway, and then obviously O'Neill. You know, that freshness is, you can see it's kind of, and we don't know who's so, you can't really put it down to a percentage like, oh, O'Neill's responsible for such and such percent of the success, and Maloney's responsible for this, and Fotheringham for that. And
I think it's been all fortunate.
I think it's all Fossey as well, to be honest. But that freshness, I think you can just see it's kind of breathing a life through the players again.
Aye, obviously it was a shame to see like Batty Kennedy because how long he'd been to the club and that, but I guess that's a good thing having Maloney in, because me personally, I've always enjoyed having like somebody in the dugout that's always like just gets what it means and like just that old like stuff. So I think, like as you say, Sean Maloney is like, I think that's a guy I'd want to keep around as well, because obviously I just can't see Martin O'Neill staying around just because he was like, he just said it himself, it's like it's a long task for him, I suppose, but I think it'd be good for, I don't know if the new manager will come in and bring his own staff, but I think Maloney's one of the people, he's Calum, he's kind of went under the radar, I think, like when it comes to the praise and that, and he's done the basics well and just got all the players back up to task. So I'd be interested to see what happens with him, but I would keep him around. I
mean, I don't know about you, because you were at the game. Did you watch the semi-final game? Did you get a ticket?
I watched it.
Watching in the house. I was obviously listening to Extra Time on the radio because I was driving to ICW at the time, and on Sports Sound, BBC Sports Sound, they were saying that, and I don't know if you've picked up on it, but that half-time team talk, it was Maloney, it was staying on it, you know, it was Maloney that was shouting and giving them next, and O'Neill was just kind of sat back there, you know. So I think, you know, his influence has certainly been felt, and that's not me sitting saying, oh, no, we should give him the job. No, but I think I've always been, my opinion of it is this, that like, I don't think the sentimentality should give you a job, but get you a job at Celtic. But what I also do think, and I agree 100% is important, there should at least always be one guy around that I think that carries on that ethos. I used this comparison before, that like it made me sad thinking about there's going to come a day at Celtic Football Club where there's like, and this is getting deep about it, right? I don't want to get dragged into any of the deep shite and all that, but this is just a genuine. I had this after I got to see the Tommy Burns story. One day there's going to be people at the club that didn't know Tommy, that didn't know any of these great Celtic men, and one day we're just going to be missing all that. But see, as long as there's a Maloney around who was coached under Burns and probably knew him really well, or a Brown or a McGregor, or people that at least knew the guy, knew those kind of people, there's like a feeling of like there's a Sellik man there, and it shouldn't mean we're giving them the jobs, the big jobs, but there's absolutely no harm if they're good at their job having a place. And I think you're right. I think Maloney is somebody that probably.
I think that was the beauty of like even why Ange was loved so much. I feel like he was a sort of person that sort of took it on when he was going, and he obviously said it in his like when he won the league and that, and like, he just understood what Celtic meant. So it'd be good like if a manager does come in and just right away gets to like love the club, because that'll obviously give them that extra boost, and just it'd be something nice to have around, as you said, because maybe one day in the future there won't be that.
I mean, I'm in danger of sounding and getting slagged and getting called a Sellik dad, but you know, go and see the Tommy Burns story next time it's in the Kings, and you'll feel it. Drunks, man. On that note, we've spoke about a lot of the improvement, Calum, and a lot of the kind of freshness. Some players have stepped up as well. Don't get me wrong, we're not perfect, we're far cry from perfect. There's still players who haven't been good enough, there's still players who are inconsistent, but there's been such a dramatic improvement in certain areas, and I'm sure some of the names we'll mention in the next 5 or so minutes. For you, who's been the joys to watch? Who's Martin O'Neill brought a life into? And who have you got thinking about again? I mean, put it this way. Before Rodgers left, there were some players who I think were like, never going to have a future, done at the club, they've done all they can, we're ready to move them on. Who's making you think twice about them, or who's standing up for you in this period of time under Martin O'Neill?
I don't even want to say, like, use the phrase thinking twice about, but I think the one I think everybody would probably agree in terms of boosted him massively, probably Trusty.
Aye.
Has to be again.
Glad you started with him.
It's just the fact that he was continually looked by week after week after week, and I'm not saying like Scales has had his points, he's been down, but there's been a good few times he's been massive, pulled us out. It's a massive point in the semi-final. Was it Chianmati? I don't know who it was. He's busting through and goal, and Scales absolutely busted it and came from behind. A fantastic challenge. But I think Trusty's definitely the one. I think he's shown every part of the price tag that we paid. But then I think second to that, probably our man Johnny Kenny, as I touched on previously. I think you can see he's playing a bit of confidence about himself. There is still points, like he's still very raw, but he's still a young boy, folk need to remember that.
Even if it's like, even just to excuse his age for a minute, because he's maybe like older than an Osmond, but in terms of his Celtic career, he's young. He's barely played for Celtic.
Yeah, I think that's from at 16. Then again, Cam Osmond's another one. Brilliant to see about him get a chance. So it's very unfortunate, obviously, with injury, which then comes for it. But then again, like, you sound like Sellik that's saying it, but again,
the podcast.
It's in the semi-final with Tavernier, and he goes to play the ball, and he just runs across him, just comes across.
It feels like they're willing to run through brick walls for the guy.
Exactly. Folk are actually like, no sense if they don't want to play. Obviously, you play for Celtic, you want to play every game possible. But everybody's got a confidence about themselves again. Seemed like under Rodgers, a couple of folk were kind of playing within themselves, and they weren't really willing to go that extra mile. But I think under O'Neill and Maloney, I think you've definitely seen a change.
Dylan, I mean, there's some great suggestions there. Kenny and Trusty are two of the first names that I think will come to everybody's mind. Is there anybody else for you that's kind of maybe either slipped under the radar or just stands out in general that's been an improvement under O'Neill?
I think in a weird way all of them have sort of like stepped up a wee bit, but I think obviously Osmond's another obvious one. As Calum said, he was unlucky with injury, but it's a shame for the boy because obviously he's got the confidence in that. But the fact he was like just stuck in the B team for that long, and then he came on against Rangers and honestly could have had a hat-trick if he buried some of the chances, but to get his goal, it was well deserved. And then just the way you see the pace about him, the energy, it's like something we've been missing for a while, and it's obviously when he's back for injury it'll be something to like have in the back of your thoughts and that. But it's really good to see a lot of these players that you didn't see all season. Like even look at Simpson Pewsey, he came on, got a first show at during the weekend, and it's just good to see these players get on the pitch, because it's like, why did you bring these players in if you're not going to play them? So it's a nice wee freshness like Martin O'Neill's brought in, and you're like getting to see all these players just have their say. So.
You know me, obviously I'm Rodgers defender number one, and I'm gutted that it ended the way that it did, and I still respect him for leaving before things got worse, and etc, but it does make you wonder. It's like, was he just like, I can't know, I'm fucked here, and just put it at the same teams for a reason? Because I mean, the guy that you mentioned first, Trusty, and I mean, we said it after Atalanta last year, and there's a couple other games that really stood out as well. Like there's a great defender in there. And now we're seeing it again. Whether, like, listen, I'm not going to use 4 or 5 games as the basis to suggest that certain guys are back or whatever, but like, how's he been at the team? And especially when there's been games where Scales has dropped stink, and I don't want to turn this into an attacking Scales sort of thing, but there's been games where you're like, how is Scales in the team? You're trusting he's been sitting on the bench with his thumb up his ass. It makes you wonder, like, what was going on?
It genuinely does. Like, it's just baffling to the fact you're like, how is it time and time again looked past, or as you said, those points where Scales could have had a dip in form, you're like, that's the perfect time. Or, lo and behold, we've got a left-footed centre-half that we could slot right in there. But no, let's just keep playing him whilst he's under this pressure. And then, again, that's where the boy continues to then get abuse. You don't know how he takes it. He might just, I'm playing for Celtic, you then, and you'd give me abuse on Twitter, kind of care less. But, no, I think for me, definitely Privilege Trust, it's been a big step up. Yeah.
I mean, even like, I think some of the guys that haven't been having the light shone on them too, because we've had Trusty and Kenny and the kind of newer names, if you want to say, getting a lot of the credit. I think it's kind of went under the radar how much improvement we've seen in some of the bigger names. I think you did mention it, to be fair. McGregor is looked, I would say, a lot better. Not perfect, but a lot better. Maeda, once again, not perfect, but I think we've seen an improvement for him. And I think you can even extend that to Kasper Schmeichel. I think he's looked better. I think that Engels has looked better. I mean, this is the effect he seems to be having on the rest of the team. And you're hoping that's no temporary, but if you're seeing better performances out of your kind of star players, that's what you need to just kind of phase through the rest of the
definitely.
team.
Even like Forrest, like against Rangers, he was brilliant when he came in. So, was pretty much. I think there's really a name you can say that's kind of been really terrible.
Tierney.
No,
listen, we're a far cry from perfect, and that's why just the kind of the last point I had in this segment of the show that I really wanted to talk about in relation to where we are in this temporary management is that, like, does Rodgers leaving spell the beginning of the end of that era? Like, is that it? Are we out of it? Or the problem was just a lot more deep rooted? Are you getting carried away? Should I maybe phrase it like that? Or do you understand that no matter what the appointment coming up is, there's still a lot of work to do?
Aye, there's definitely still a lot of work to do. As you said there, right, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a better place than we were a couple of weeks ago when we sat and did the last podcast. But you think obviously seen the European performance. I know Midtjylland was a good team, top of the Europa League for a reason, but you definitely seen that there's still a lot of issues to get solved in this team. But honestly, it's definitely been a lot more positives and negatives since the last time, but definitely still work to do in this team. But
you in the same boat?
Yeah, definitely still a lot of things that need to be worked on within the team, and kind of a bit more like the squad depth, for example. But a Johnny Kane injury away for Ryan and Dyson, who obviously it's only paper talks, but from what obviously we heard at the start of the season, looking to be away in January. Then who do you rely on? When Ben Summers up again to the youth team, Johnson again.
And obviously, doesn't help. It's like I don't want to turn this into a negative. I feel like we've been actually really positive for a change this season on this podcast. We've been positive things, but things can turn very, very quickly. And we've got to be honest for a minute. Like, we come back to a tough run. Our first 3 games out of international break are St Mirren and Paisley, Feyenoord in the Coupe, and Hibs at Easter Road. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Calum, there's a world where Celtic could feasibly lose all 3 of their games. And suddenly, if you lose all 3 of their games, all this fucking Martin O'Neill means nothing. It means nothing. And like, that is what we've got to guard ourselves against. Now, do I think we'll go and we'll lose all 3 of those games? No, I don't. I really don't think we will. But the way we've been this season, with the amount of injuries we're carrying, we need to guard ourselves against that sort of complacency. And we don't want all of this positivity to be wasted.
No, not at all. I think we've seen a fair few teams go to the Smythe Stadium.
Oh God, I just call it Love Street.
seen a good few teams go there. Obviously Hearts went there the other week. St Mirren actually unlucky not to come away with 3 points. And then again, Easter Road, it's a place we've always struggled at. I don't know what it is. It's as if it is just a mental block.
Bogey.
Trying to come through. But and then obviously Europe, we've kind of briefly touched on Europe. Europe's just a bit of not so much a lost cause. That's not a phrase I want to use, but it's a bit of you wish you could just get that back.
Here's the white flag.
Aye.
Let's go.
Guys, don't even go on the plane. Just
guys,
we'll stay here.
Guys, let's no bother.
But yeah, no, I think it definitely hard games coming up, but I think it's just, as you said, it's about not getting too complacent with it, especially recent results.
I just imagine the laugh if we did come out the international break and fucking lose all 3.
I'll tell you what, see if we lose to Hibs, by the way, I'm fed up with him, right? Because conceded a 90th minute goal to Hearts, missed a penalty against Rangers, but ready to drop park. You are annoying me, Hibs. Honestly.
Maybe the M8 Alliance. You know, we're not getting much fucking out of that, are we?
Help your rivals try to win the league.
They will have a meltdown if they beat us, by the way, Hearts fans. But I can't believe it. Right, the last thing before we go into the half-time quiz I want to talk about very, very quickly. Dyson Maeda, it looks as though he might be off in January. Those stories, I mean, that was to be expected. I don't know about yous. I perversely, I'm cautious of saying this before people jump down my throat, but I perversely don't mind it too much, because I think if we're going to be fresh and we're going to have a fresh start, you may as well get rid of the guys that don't want to be here, and he doesn't want to be here, so I'm not that bothered. But that being said, it's a hell of a player to lose mid-season. For my side, hell of a player to lose and a hell of a player to replace. So where do you stand in that, Calum? Are you fine with him going, but also how do you feel about him going?
I think more so obviously when the news broke that he was supposed to be away in the summer and whatnot, you came to terms with it that mentally he had moved on, like he knew that he wanted to be elsewhere. Obviously Rodgers had said didn't manage to get the signings in to basically cover him, so we couldn't afford to let him go. That's fair enough, these things happen in football. I think if you're a good enough footballer, you just kind of say, right, that's fine, you know your next step's January, you'll get your move then. That's fair enough. I think if you're an adult, you can say, aye, fair dues, I'll do my job up until then, and then I'm off. But as you said, it's a hell of a player to lose. Like, the work rate you constantly see, the pace, the set is unbelievable. But I think it's because, personally, it's not as if I'm saying he's the best in the world, unbelievable, but I couldn't go and pick out another 5 players in world football at him now.
No. I agree with you 100%.
Getting that work rate at Sunday is unbelievable.
He's a one of a kind. I don't think by the time we're old and grey, I don't think we'll ever see another Dyson Maeda, Dylan. And once again, Dyson Maeda is a fucking weird player, because sometimes he looks like the worst player you've ever seen, sometimes he looks like the best player you've ever seen, but there's one thing that can't be denied: he's a unique phenomenon of a player, and that's got to be solid to replace if you're looking for somebody in that mould. But maybe the new manager looks for something completely different.
As you say, he's a one-of-a-kind player in a good way, but I feel like it's obviously been more positive than negative. Like his season last season, he was outstanding, and a lot of big goals against Rangers. You've seen him, and obviously the work rate, the heart. He's just got a bit of everything, and as Calum says, you can really pick out a player like Dyson Maeda and the transfer window and that. So it'd be a really sad player to lose, because obviously he's been brilliant, but it's I think the only concern about that as well, like if you lose Maeda at the start, you've got a derby coming up, which can be massive. You would assume, surely there's no way Celtic let him leave before the derby, especially if you're losing like Tonecki or Ballywisha. There's a lot of, because the derby's January 3rd. Yep. Like surely, like even if there's a deal in it, even if they're behind the scenes to know, surely Celtic go, listen, Dyson, the 4th you're free to go. Like just stay for the fucking derby.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. You go back on, that's fine. But
what time's your flight? The extra time this week, so you should be alright. Aye, be fine. One more goal again. Listen, I think you know what you were saying there. It'll be sad to lose him, but it just kind of happens, doesn't it?
Aye. Well,
we'll see. Silence when he leaves. Right, okay, that does it for the first half of the show. Keep with us, because after the halftime quiz, it's out of the juicy stuff. Who's going to be the next Celtic manager? On that note, I will turn it to Calum for the halftime quiz, I believe, this week. So it's been we've not done a quiz in ages, because the last time it was too like rants in it. And thank God we never done quizzes the last time, because if we did, we would have definitely not made it home in time for the Rodgers Stews. So Calum, I'll let you take it away, son. What have you got for us this week?
So this one's it's a fan favourite. Mission folk do fan favourite between us. Is who's that tick?
My favourite.
Everybody loves him.
I feel like I don't know if I'm good or bad at these. I feel like it's a mixed bag. But
I'm shite. I'm full on shite.
So how am I going to go? Flip a coin.
Oh, we're flipping the wee coin.
Only because
the wee coin there.
I don't know what else I can use for it here. Right, what's already flipping for him to chance for it.
Well, that's right, none else know
it. Dylan, what do you pick, heads or tails?
Heads.
Right, here we go. I'd always go for heads. You've stole my side.
Don't even know if Cameron would pick up, but it's tails.
Oh, so that means I get to choose.
Like another one.
Like player A or player B?
I always regret going for player B, I feel like, so I'm going to go player A.
Plenty. Right. So, Ryan,
Yes.
your player plays for Ipswich,
Right.
moved to Celtic.
Right.
His club following that, he went to Oldham on loan.
Oh, I wish I picked player B. Ipswich to Sellik to Oldham on loan. Right. That makes me think he's English, first of all. Because surely if you're away down to Oldham and coming up for there. Am I allowed any kind of time period clues? Anything like
Yeah,
that?
but 2 seconds, I'll get you. So, his time at Celtic, he was at the club between 2017 and 2020.
Oh. For Ipswich and joined in 2017?
And then he's, because it was part of that, his Oldham spell was 2017 to 2018.
Christ, right, okay. I feel like I've got this nagging thing in the back of my brain. I did a YouTube video in 2017 or something saying that somebody was going to Oldham. For the life of me, I can't think who it would be. See, Kundai Benyu's in my head, right? But he didn't come for Ipswich. I'm sure he...
I'm clueless. I'm stumped.
Kundai Benyu could be him. He did join in 2017, I'm sure.
Sure, there was a few at Ben that joined on about that time and all, like similar.
Sorry's diddies that never play a game. Right, do you know what? For the sake of no wasting all day and all night, I'm going to go Kundai Benyu.
Correct. Oh, it's Kundai Benyu. Brilliant catch. When you said,
Yes.
I don't know if he was Ipswich, my right, throwing yourself off it.
You honestly couldn't torture that information at me that he came for Ipswich, to be honest, but
I had such high hopes for that boy, man. I don't know why.
I didn't. I watched him fuck a step over in a friendly against Wolfsburg and I knew straight away. I was like, he's fucking hopeless.
Get out.
So, player B, Dylan. Player was at Sporting Gijon, joined Celtic, and left Celtic to join Getafe.
Oh,
And I'll also give you a time frame since
Sporting
given-
Gijon gave me a...
That rings a bell.
I don't hope I pronounced that right.
It's Gijon, something. Listen, who cares?
So his time frame from Celtic was 2014 to 2016.
Oh, right. I don't think it's the one I was thinking.
2016.
But I do have somebody in my head.
I also made a wee tiebreaker on the off chance if both you've got your players.
Oh,
Just for a bit of fun.
Nice.
I think I'm getting it, so sorry.
I think I have a feeling I know who it is, but it might be right.
Getafe 2016.
Feel like that. See that the dialogue you're in. That's
I
just
know,
a
it's
free for all.
it feels like a blur, the dialogue.
Oh,
The
the
dialogue.
some amount of shite that came through and never even played. You stumped.
Aye. My brain's no braining. Again, just to save time, I'm going to say Johansson, but I know it's going to be wrong.
Can I have a guess as well in case Dylan is wrong? Is it Stefan Skepovic?
That was my last shout, Skepovic. But I feel like he's been on this before when we've done one.
It's Stefan Skepovic.
Is it Skepovic?
It is.
I swear.
Should have went there.
I promise I'm not lying, that was my backup.
It was the Gijon. I was certain he signed for Gijon. I couldn't tell you who he went to. It's the reverse of the last time. So I remember Benyu going on loan somewhere, but I didn't know he joined for Ipswich, whereas I knew that Gijon was where Skepovic came
I
from.
swear to God, that was my... Do you know the reason that put me off? I was like, I swear, I feel like we've already done Skepovic.
Aye.
Was that a tick? But there you go. Aye.
And just for a bit of fun, Ryan's took that one, but for the tiebreaker, it would have been with your man Stefan Skepovic, closest to the number. How many clubs has he played for?
Oh Jesus,
Skepovic.
must be up in the 9.
10.
There you go.
23.
Oh, fuck.
23.
23 clubs.
Who's he at now? Is he still playing?
He's at OFK Belgrade. Where the fuck they are? They are Serbian League.
Serbian.
That's Tony Watts look no bad.
Belgrade, it sounds like a fucking contact in your phone in GTA. Von Belgrade. Fucking hell. Right, thanks Calum, cracking, enjoyed that. Let's get into the second half of the show, which is obviously the tasty part. Celtic are looking for a new manager. In case you didn't know, I'm pretty sure you will know. And rumours are flying as of things right as things stand right now. You know, 1 minute you're hearing that somebody's the favourite, somebody is on their way to London, and somebody's ruled themselves out of the job, and God knows where we even stand. It's always a wild and exciting time. It's also a very nerve-wracking time because right now I feel like Celtic need to get it right more than ever. So I guess I'll just kick off with a general feeling about things. What are we thinking about the situation right now? We're going to come to who you want and stuff like that, but just generally, are you feeling positive? Are you feeling scared? Like, how are you feeling, Calum?
Obviously, it is a bit of a worry. You're like, you'd think, I'm not saying you would think you would have a short list, but we obviously knew what Rodgers' situation was, where he wasn't going to sign an extension, so we knew he'd be away in the summer. You'd have thought, well, let's just sort of have a short list here, 3 or 4 people that we know is available in the summer. We'll start to pursue them sort of towards like February, March time. But I think the fact that the positive side I'm looking is I'm glad we've not just went in head first and just, for example, I know came on to names, but certain managers with like a release clause, I'm glad we've not just went, there you go, pay that, just to get it over and done, mate. I'm glad we're going through a bit of a thorough process with it, as opposed to just kind of taking the first option available.
There's like a balance, isn't there? It's like you need Celtic to do their due diligence, but you also want to have clarity sooner rather than like, you don't want to be in the situation we were in 2021 when we took over 100 days to like get a manager. Like, that was ridiculous. But as you say, due diligence is just so important, isn't it? Make sure you do it right.
I think especially because it is such a big appointment for a club. And again, I'm not wanting to down talk clubs like, don't even want to say Motherwell, because some managers actually done really well this season with him.
Clubs like Rangers.
But but like clubs are kind of a lesser calibre, if you will, where managers won't be on as much, so they can afford to go in and take somebody from like second tier in Belgium and take a risk on it. If it doesn't quite work out, right, do you know what? It's a bit of a done off the transfer budget. We'll pay him, move him out. 9 times out of 10, we're almost like the Italians, where it's a Scottish manager merry-go-round, and somebody that's been an ex-player, an ex-coach comes in.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the most interesting things there about this time round, because for the first time in, I think maybe since Dyer left anyway, there's a real, we don't know where we're going. So when Dyer left, we ended up with Rodgers, and it was like a big surprise. Like, what the hell, we've got Brendan Rodgers, he was just at Liverpool, cool, whatever. But when he goes, Lennon unsurprisingly gets given the job full time, even though we were all against it. It was no surprise it was going to happen. When Lennon goes, let's just skip Ange for a minute. It was going to be, and it should have been Eddie Howe. He literally had the job and he turned it down at the last minute. So that's the only reason we ended up with Ange on this kind of whimsical surprise. Then when Ange leaves, it's Brendan Rodgers. And we all know it's Brendan Rodgers for the fucking minute he basically leaves the door. But now we're actually kind of walking into the unknown for the first time in the best part of a decade. So that in itself is a really unique feeling for fans, especially of maybe younger ages, and even us who were 15 or 16 the first time Rodgers came to the club.
Aye, it's like as you say, it's kind of like a new feeling. Like, we're not used to it. Obviously, Rangers do it every year, so it's so it's good. It's good for us to like go into the unknown and get somebody different and new. But it's like, as you said, like the last time you really got that feeling was like, obviously Ange came in, it was still an exciting time because you didn't know what to expect, and it worked out well. But there's that way it might not work out well this time, but obviously hope it does. So it's a nice feeling to see. Like, it's quite exciting. Obviously, you see with players, you're like, oh, this player might be coming to Celtic, but with a manager, it's just that different vibe in it. It's like, you know, this is going to be the top guy that's coming in to hopefully turn the club around and turn the season around. So it's quite an exciting time to be a Celtic fan, and it's like quite exciting to see all the names and who you want and stuff. But it's an interesting time for sure, and it'll be, hopefully we won't need to wait too long to see who it is.
You talk about turning it round. It's obviously a tough task. It's not going to be easy. Like, some people might paint it, you come and say, like, you win the league, you beat the Diddy teams to the cups, and you try your best in Europe. It's a cushy job, but no, it's not. I mean, John Barnes couldn't do it. Tony Mowbray couldn't do it. Dr. Weghorst couldn't do it. Like, there's people who have failed. What does Celtic need right now? Not in terms of, once again, I'll come to names in a moment, but for you, what does Celtic need in terms of type of leader, type of football, all the kind of basic stuff? What are you just hoping that Celtic achieve for this managerial search?
I mean, I know it's easier said than done, and we'll always refer to Ange, but Ange brought in that new excitement of like attacking football, and I think with Rodgers, you seen it was just wearing off, and it was a bit flat, and you were getting quite bored in a weird way of the football. You got to games, and it was like, you just need that. The way Martin O'Neill Maloney's done it, like, obviously it's like not to that extent you want him, but they've come in and they've just gave you that bit of freshness, and you just hope this new manager comes in his new ideas and maybe his own tactics, and like similar to that way, they'll just bring a bit of excitement back to the club, a bit of attacking football, because that's what you want to see. You just want to see that more exciting play, like play football the Celtic way. And it'd just be good to see if they can bring that style, and obviously the players just keep to that level and the hunger, the desire, and hopefully they can run through a wall from the way they did with Ange and stuff like that. So you're just wanting like that just new level of excitement back at Celtic.
Calum, yourself, what were you kind of looking for? What are you kind of expecting?
I don't know, obviously with a couple of names, I know we're just due to touch on, but a couple of names going about. I don't think there's any that I'm really a bit on, especially when we kind of look at, probably I would say, the main four.
Like the strong contenders.
Yeah. It's not really any of them that I'd turn my nose up at.
Right.
I'd be happy with all of them. But I think it's just, you just need somebody to come in and it needs to be a positive style of football again. We kind of like, I know it's only been a short stint if you're under, obviously, Maloney and O'Neill, but the football's been positive, as we said. It's been stripped back to the basics, but you're playing out, you're not playing within yourselves and playing side to side.
Aye.
I think that's a big thing for me. It has to be attacking positive football.
I think when you talk about that attacking positive football, somebody that's going to do this and that is just, I think that reinforces the point of how nice freshness would be. Like, once again, love him to absolute bits, but with Rodgers, I think one of the things that maybe I was naive about when he first came back is that was, he wasn't too far removed from his first tenure, so he was going to trust the same players that were there. He was going to employ the same systems and the same, use players in the same ways. Whereas now we get a manager coming in who's going to have, and Rodgers obviously working within the same scouting range that he probably was in his first tenure. Unlike when Ange came in, he took us into the Japanese market. It was like, oh, here's something fresh and new. So like, if you go for one of these fresh and new managers, Calum, it's not just about the football, it's about the wider context as well. It's about, you know, what are we going to do recruitment wise, who are we going to go to coaching wise, and like getting ideas about the club that we've probably never had. Because remember, when Ange came here as well, Ange didn't bring any members of staff.
No.
He used John Kennedy, he got Gavin Strachan with him, it was the same old people. That's not going to happen this time. We've cleaned house. There is going to be a total injection of freshness, you'd think, and that can only be good for the club.
Oh, definitely. I think we touched on it kind of on the first half of the show, where, again, still massively annoyed the fact that the way things then were left for John Kennedy.
Aye.
I think it was a disgrace, but I think it was kind of a time you seen freshness. I genuinely think the only person I can see that will still be there when the new manager comes in being Stevie Woods. I feel like managers just don't take a goalkeeping coach.
It's like goalkeeping coaches are a weird one anyway. Like as long as they've got goalkeepers are goalkeepers.
Aye.
You know, like it's not like they're no influencing the style of play that's going on. You know,
he's the only person I can still see being there by the time however the next manager is to come in. But again, because as you say, like it's your goalkeeper, like she's going to do your own training. Take the actual team itself.
I mean, we see it. We were right down the front in Denmark, and it was literally Stevie Woods, 4 goalkeepers, didn't speak a fucking word to anybody. You know, just stuck behind
I love that Roy Keane, man. He's like, when people say he's a good shot stopper, is that not his job?
That's his job. That's his job. So, I mean, we're hearing loads about how interviews are taking place in London, and the top contenders have kind of made their way into the frame now. It seems like things are leaning heavily in the direction of one man right now, and that's Wilfred Nancy, or for the non-extravagant Wilfred Nancy. I try my best to respect everybody by calling them their actual name. So from this point on, even though I've been calling them Nancy for weeks, I will be calling them Nancy. And whether or not you like that or not, because it sounds immature and Calum's laughing beside me, you're just going to have to get used to it. He's potentially the next Celtic manager. His name is doing the rounds rapidly at the minute, and it does sound like that there is a lot of progress towards his name. Once again, reinforce the point, nobody suggesting he's definitely the next Celtic manager, but his name is just coming up a lot, and he has split opinion. Naturally, a manager from the MLS would. Dylan, I'll start with you. He is the first name on the list to talk about right now. What is your current feelings on Nancy?
I mean, I think it's similar to what Calum says. I feel like when you see all the names, there's not really anybody there. You're like, oh no, God, no. Do you know what I mean?
But some people will with him.
Oh, of course. I feel like maybe Wilfred's that sort of person where like will maybe split the Celtic support. But I think me personally, I'm really open to it. Like, I feel like just in a weird way, he does have similar Ange vibes. Like I didn't really know much about him until last week when he's on the speculation at. But I think when you look at him, like his personality and that, and like you've seen, he's clearly like he's a winner. Like, he's done it and he's won a couple of trophies and that. But he's just like he just gives a good vibe, and I feel like honestly, I'm not against it, but and especially because I think their season's finished doing it, so I think that's why he's one of the strong favourites, and maybe he is in talks, and obviously we've seen it in London and that. So I think he is the current favourite, and I'm not against it, but obviously I think there is maybe better options, but I feel like
do you understand why people might be pessimistic about the thoughts?
I think it's more just because obviously you see he's not been in the manager game that long. Obviously you've seen he was a coach, but I think he's not got the experience, and you're coming to a club like Celtic, the pressure, it could be different, it could affect him that way. So I understand it, but just me, I'm always still open to him coming.
Yeah, I mean, Calum, we spoke a lot about Nancy when we were in Denmark last week, and I think all 5 of us that were on that trip were ready to start pelting out the songs for him. We had a few drinks in us, we're like, let's go. How have you, now that you've sobered up and stuff, how are you feeling about the potential possibility of Nancy being there?
I don't know about sobered up, but
I keep forgetting you work for tenants. There's never a sober day there.
But no, I think I was kind of on the boat with it from the first soon. I'd kind of seen it a wee bit. I was but that was only because I didn't really know too much about him. Once I kind of done like my own homework on it, kind of looked a bit more into him, and I said I actually quite like the look of him, quite the look of the style of his play. And again, I think as we touched on previously, it's a market we've never looked at as MLS. Like it's a completely new branch, but then out with that, he would also look into towards the South American market as well. Imagine obviously they'll be keen at it. But no, I think it would definitely be something completely fresh as well. And even we said it last night, I can't remember for life me the Twitter page, but somebody had said it and said, take my opinion off so and so, and I'm like, why are you letting somebody else make your mind up for you? But why?
Because I think there was, and it's not, listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, but it is one that people's ears and eyes will open when they see the page. But I seen I think it's the Montreal Celtic Supporters Club.
That was it.
And that's fair enough. They're from Montreal. They know far more about them than we will. They're perfectly entitled to make their opinion clear. But I don't like taking my opinions from people who are like, I've watched them, and I'm like, well, okay, cool, like that. I value that. I'm listening to that, but I'm going to go make my own opinion. And my opinion right now is, he seems to have a really good write-up. He's won trophies. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's not been in the game long. And I understand that managing Celtic's a completely different kettle of fish. But I've sounded like a broken record. Anybody could fail at this job. Nobody's guaranteed to come in and win. The closest thing we've ever had to that ever was Rodgers coming back. He was guaranteed to win because it was Brendan Rodgers, and he'd done it before, and he's one of the best managers in fucking Britain, right? That was going to happen. That was a guarantee. See every other appointment we make, Ange could have went tits up. Rodgers the first time could have went tits up. Dyler could have went tits up. Mowbray did go tits up. These things, it doesn't matter how long you've been. I mean, when Mowbray had the Celtic job, he'd managed in England, he'd managed Hibs in Scotland, had plenty of experience. How did that go for him? No, very well. Nancy, a good coach, my opinion is a good coach is a good coach. And see if you've been doing it for 4 years or 40 years, if you know how to win trophies, you know how to win games, cool, go and do it then. I don't care how much experience you've got in the game. Would I prefer Nancy to have, I said I was going to call him Nancy, would I prefer Nancy to have 10 more years? Of course I would. I can't help that he's only a certain age and he's only been managing a certain amount of time.
I think that's why as well everybody's so scared. I think because we are so used to the same names coming back, and you know their experience, you know what they've done. So I think that's why there's always and fair enough, it's a reasonable excuse, but it's why you're a bit pessimistic about it. So.
I think you're allowed to be pessimistic. I think you're 100%. I'm not going to tell anybody you're wrong for thinking that it's a risk. But risks is what makes things entertaining, isn't it? I don't know. I'm up for it.
You look at start of Angie's tenure. Fucking 3 defeats in the first 6 games. You think, what the fuck?
Didn't he win an away game to October, November time?
October, aye. So there you go, and you think, you're like, what the fuck have you done? Have you made the right decision?
Aye.
Look how that turned out. And I'm not saying she's going to come in and be another Ange, not for a single minute, but I think no matter who it is, the fans need to back him from day dot. You can't have this, I don't know, no, I didn't want him, I wanted, McKenna, I'm not saying any of the other names. But we've not got him. He's in the door now. We need to do everything to back him.
The one thing I can't, and we'll get into it, I'm glad you've brought it up, Calum. One thing I can't be bothered with, and I'm sorry if you take offence to this, but I mean it when I say it, I cannot be fucked with people acting like fucking children. See if it is Nancy. I didn't want Nancy, I wanted McKenna. What are you, fucking 12? Like, it's no Christmas. Like, can't take it back, son. This is what you've got now. Wait till Toys R Us is open tomorrow and we'll take it fucking back. No, don't act like a child. Like, it's a man in a fucking football manager's job, for Christ's sake. Like, I fear that there is people in your support, though, who'll go, I'm not getting behind them.
Oh,
I'm not doing
100%
like, just fucking grow up. Like, if it goes tits up, cool, lambast them all you like and chase him if you want, but don't date it his first day in the job, you know what I mean?
You did it before he's even in the job.
I know, like, what's the point? What does that achieve? Because anything does going to win a treble, you're just going to look like a twat.
Aye.
Like, and granted, we might look like the twats if he gets sacked after 6 months, but at least I got right. At least I went, you know what, let's try and make it work. You know?
Aye.
I feel like either no matter who it is, you need to back them in it. So.
Aye, exactly. And here's like, listen, we're all getting dangerously drawn into saying that it is Noncy. It's not. We don't know who it is. Knutson and McKenna, their names are still the closest behind. However, we did hear reports that apparently Knutson wasn't involved in any of the talks so far in London, which doesn't surprise me. He's a busy man. He's still working for a football club. They are still the guys behind Noncy in the list. Noncy is the favourite. Robbie Keane, the only other one in there right now. Because we are running a bit short for time and I don't want to keep things going too long, I'm going to just turn it to the kind of final part that I wanted to go through. Who do you want? Potentially, for all we know, here's the first part of the question. For all we know, we could be sitting in this studio next week with a new Celtic manager. Do you think we will be sitting this time next week in the studio with a new Celtic manager, or do you think we're still going to have to wait a wee bit longer, Dylan?
I think we'll still need to wait a wee bit longer, personally, just till international breaks are done and stuff. But yeah, we said that, and Brendan Rodgers left that night, so I don't know who's for me to say, but I would say just like, no, you don't want to wait like the last team, like 100 days and that, but I don't think it will be too long, but I don't think it'll be as soon as next week.
Calum?
Exactly as Darren said, I think he's hit the nail on the head there. I don't think we will have one next week, but again, I don't want to say with a better indication as to who, because current indication says it is Noncy. There's nothing nailed on to say it is him, but yeah, I'd still rather be where kind of taking our time with and kind of taking it at a day-by-day basis.
So on that note, to finish up, before we move on to Twitter questions and the full-time quiz, who do you want? I'm going to just go along the table. I'll start with you, I'll go to me, we'll end with Dylan. Just literally a minute, 2 minutes, however long you need to put forward a case as to who you think will be or should be the next Celtic manager. I said in the running order, fuck realistic. It doesn't need to be realistic if you don't want. Maybe let's not sit here and go with the Zidanes though. Like, let's keep it somewhat, respectable. So Calum, I'll start with you. Of all the reading and such you've done this week, who would you like to see be the next Celtic manager?
I don't know. I don't know if it is just more a recency thought of it, but I think I'm kind of putting my eggs in the basket and Noncy. I think it is.
Okay.
Saying Tim, obviously I've made the joke quite a few times, Thiago's Tims for Thiago Motta. Not that it would happen, but I would love it. But no, I think I'm kind of edging towards Noncy.
Nice, right. Do you like the reading you've done about him in terms of football and that? Does it appeal to you, I take it?
Yeah, I mean, even then, like, kind of watching clips back, obviously there's only so much you can take for the clips because the clips, it's the attacking side he's play, but again, it's that, like, fast, free-flowing. We've not got this slow build-up way, like, defence to midfield, back and through.
Which seems to be, because a lot of people hear the words possession-based,
yep.
and they're like, oh, it's just another Rodgers, and I'm like, no, it's not how
There's
it works. Because a team likes to have the ball doesn't mean they all play the same way Rodgers played.
That's what he's saying, what if it's possession-based? You tell me Pep's Barca played the same as Rodgers said to possession-based. Like, no, two completely different things.
So, Noncy is where you're laying just now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Right. For me, listen, I think you can make a case for any of the top three candidates that seem to be right now, Noncy, Knutson, McKenna. I'd be happy with all three of them. I think that Knutson is the no-brainer. If he's available, I don't think he'll be available. So right now, I'd say if I was to pick, if it's my option, I'm sticking where I stuck over the past year. I'm sticking with Kieran McKenna. I just think he's probably the standout for me. Good coaching career so far. Young, yes. Maybe he hasn't got the experience that we'd like in a manager, but it's the teams that take the risks on these managers that end up paying dividends for it, and I think Celtic should try and be ahead in those sort of curves. So yeah, I'm going McKenna. I like him a lot. I've spoke about him to death, so I'm not going to bore you right now. He would still be my number one pick. Dylan?
It's weird that I feel like I've been pushed about all three of them. Like, I think Knutson's obviously the most, like, my fun. Well, I can't talk. My God. The one that
He's talking Norwegian.
I think he's the one I wanted the most, just because of like you see his experience, what he's done at Bodo Glimt. But I feel like he's just one of the managers that will just never leave Bodo Glimt. Like the amount of times we spoke about him in the early years, and I think as well, Ryan, I think Kieran McKenna is a good one as well. But I don't know if it's just because he's press conference, but I just don't know if he's going to leave. I just don't know if I see it. But and then same as Calum, I think recently I have went in the boat of Nancy. Just I feel like he's a character. I just feel like he's got something about him, and I just think it's good vibes, and I feel like he would fit Celtic well, and I think it would just go alright. So I think I would go Nancy if I had to pick one.
Nice.
But
There you go. I'm ready to get behind him if it is him. Honestly, I'll lead the fucking charge if I need to. I'll do it. But thank you, lads. Good stuff. Let's go into the Twitter questions and try and finish up in the next 10 minutes, shall we? I put up the tweet late today. I completely forgot we were doing a podcast. It was about 2 o'clock. If you missed it, apologies. Please keep in mind to go and follow us on Twitter, get involved. One thing I completely forgot to mention, by the way, is the fact that bastard Kieran is away to Florida. What is that about?
I'm jealous, Kieran. I'm jealous.
I hope you enjoy, mate. I know you won't be watching because you'll be fucking stoating around Disney with fucking fairies around you and fucking happiness and angels and whatnot, but there you go, have it. Kieran at the movies kicks us off this week. What positions do you think we need to address in the January window? And is there any players currently playing in Scotland you'd like to see at the club? So I guess positions, throw any out, that you'd like to see?
I think right back's probably a big one. And I think we've seen this. Anything else, and there's not really. It's not even a subpar standard.
Right back first,
I think most obviously with the length of Johnson's injury as well. I think it'd be ideal for another solid backup like we've seen the kind of the left back situation with Sirachi. I think every game he's played, he's been so defensively sound and solid. Never really touched on him obviously with the game at the weekend, a bit gutting obviously seeing him, but kind of glad he managed to get up and walk off as opposed to needing stretchered.
Right back's a shout, Dylan.
I think same as Carl. I think right back's a good shout because if Johnston's out longer, then even Donovan was good, but it's just like you want that right back like solid placement sort of thing, like to replace Johnston. But it's a bit of a weird one because we've got a lot of injuries at each bit of the pitch now, and obviously right wing I think still a big one because obviously we've got a few 100%. Left wingers. But then again, if it's coming up to AFCON and you're losing 2 left wingers, it's like I think wingers is going to need to be another big look in January, and then if you're losing Maida as well, so. And then, but I don't know. I'd probably say winger again, but same as Calum, right back main too. I think
it's nuts. I think you're better asking what positions do we no need to look at in January. To be honest, I think goalkeeper we're fine. I think you can make a case that in centre mid. I know people will say we're no fine, but I think we are to the end of the season. Like even if you just get
than it was, wasn't it?
As long as you get through to the end of the season, we think about it then. Everywhere else, though, I think you can make a case. Well, we probably should start looking everywhere, you know what I mean? Like, we should probably have a look. Realistically, what are we going to do in January? And not that much. I think we'll sign maybe 3 players tops. I think that the manager will probably want a bit longer to evaluate his team to see what he needs to do in the summer. I think January is just going to be a weird window for us, man. I don't know if people are ready for that. I think they're going to be expecting us to go and spend. And I think we still will spend a good bit just to spite Rodgers and to spite the supporters. I see Desmond acting like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I still think that this new manager's going to need time to evaluate, and that's going to make it a bit weird. So, that's that. Decky says, reckon that we can take Osmond out of the European squad for Simpson Pusey. What a disaster, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I sure couldn't write it.
Nah, you couldn't. The fact that, also through the week, folks saying, well, what's the rule where like, swap my player out for long term? That's fine. He ends up with a long term injury again. But it's like, could only be us.
It's mental as well after his goal and then winning the penalty and that. It's just such a shame for the boy, man, honestly.
Do you think Celtic could see us as Weiler asking this question? Do you think Celtic could see a larger increase in Scandinavian talent under Knutson? Bold to assume we'll get him, by the way. Similar to what we've seen Asian talent with Ange.
I mean, I think if it is to be him, definitely because it's a market with no massively, I can see him probably try to bring a good few of his players across with him. But yeah, again, I think that's probably one of the ones you discuss more once we know who's actually in the door.
Aye. Same to an extent. I feel like that. But if you're coming in a new club, you're always going to have like players you've had history with. You have see if you can bring them out to the new club and work with them again. Obviously, because you've got experience working with them. So I would say so.
We've already got a real strong. I mean, your Scandinavian history is pretty strong. I mean, gone all the way back to the 90s to now, and we still have Nygren in the team. We've got Holm out on loan. Is there a couple other dotted about at the minute? I can't think, but obviously in recent years we've had IRL Yanusi, we've had, we're always quite strong in that market anyway, but it probably will be and could be stronger if it's Knutson. I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't want to get fucking. And the reason I've never said I want Knutson is I just don't want to be heartbroken when it's inevitably no him.
Nah.
So that's why I've never really said it too much.
I wonder if he's ever sick of his name.
Oh, I know.
Obviously, we've heard it from our side of the city. Oh, go and get him. Hey, listen, I don't fucking want to go to Scotland.
Why do you bastards keep trying to put me in Glasgow? Daily record. The lad is here and he's always here. And Wolverhampton for the darts tonight. An utter dump with no kebab pies.
Yes.
Anyway, who would you rather as your next boss? Ant McPartland or Declan Donnelly?
I think Declan that.
Ant's not going to get you up the road if you ask for that.
I was going to say, I think he'll make training with Smartles. Seen that road up to Lennox Town?
Oh yeah, he's not driving in that. Drive responsibly. Declan Donnelly.
Deck's definitely the sounder one. Sorry, Ant, if you're watching.
With Aidan saying with us playing every 3 days until the end of January, if we don't have a new manager by next weekend, do you think they'll leave it until the end of January? Which kind of ties into Cal's question saying, do you think it would be better to wait to the summer to get a manager? Probably not, but I feel like with a cup final and a massive transfer window looming, we're putting anyone in who comes in a tricky position. So as I say, that the window really makes it, because if they don't have time to evaluate and they come in and they have a shocker of January and the results don't follow, like they're putting themselves under a lot of pressure, aren't they? Like that's a hard one to balance, but then again, like you can't just hold up the club to be like, it's just so weird. It's
good points in it, but I feel like if that way, even if you wait to summer either way, it's just going to be even more trickier, I guess. But I see where they're coming from, obviously, because it's a short time period to get used to players and dealing with the fixtures and players leaving, players coming in. So it can be an awkward one, but I feel like it's just sadly one of the things that needs to get done. But
right, final question to end off on them. Aidan, are the names we're hearing as next manager higher rated than you first thought we would get? So I've seen a lot of people going like, like these names are shite and all the rest of it. Let me just start very quickly. I don't know what people were expecting. I really don't. Like, Rodgers leaving at this exact moment, situation aside, was never going to be ideal because people are midway through their seasons. But I really don't know what people... We're a huge club, but under very limited circumstances. So getting a big name is always going to be hard. Ange Postecoglou was not a household big name when we got him, and I hate keep calling Ange, like, you know what I mean? But these are just the names that end up becoming household. So that's the kind of world we live in. Are you disappointed with the names we're being linked with?
No, I don't want to say not really. I mean, I think mostly the fact that we all said we're on the same boat, the names that we just discussed, would be happy if it was any of them. Which is why I'm on a positive light of it. If we started with a shite, it could be... Don't get me wrong, Ange would have been... I loved him when he was here, but still in that same cycle, innit? I was here before. We're trying to break out of that mould and go with something fresh. So no, I wouldn't really seem disappointed with the names that's been out there. Something very different, and it's not different to Knutson because we've heard them for the last 3 years in Scotland. But that's about it. Like, that's no fault of his.
No, of course. Dylan?
No, I'm the same. I think, especially the stage of the season you're at, I think there's only so much you can ask for. But I think with the names, it's like all good names. That's why I say I've been bounced between a few of them. So I think either what, I think I'm alright with it.
And see, like, the only other thing to add, just to finish off, see the people who would say like, get O'Neill in the summer and we'll get better options then. I don't get that logic. Like, if you're doing well in your job and you're going to probably stay at it, and if you're the guys that will be available in the summer most likely have been sacked. So like people are just going to go, he was just sacked. So I don't get what people are looking for. I just think we're in a very hard to please world, and it's just it is what it is. But we'll see what happens, and we'll talk about it again next week. Right, full-time quiz. Let's do it.
I'm going to cut a chuck out of there. Apologies, Liam. Liam's just put his no Kieran with a... Apologies, Liam.
Well, he jetted off to Florida, so
I know.
Blame him. Right, full-time quiz. It's Calum against Dylan. I have got a league table in front of me. I am joint bottom of the table with Dylan, but Dylan has played 2 games less than me, so I am stinking the gaff out this season. Calum has 4 points with 3 played, and Kieran has 7 points with 4 played. So Calum, put it this way, if you win today, you go joint top of the table with Mr. Auld.
I don't like that.
But because, Dylan, you have the disadvantage in terms of games played, I'll allow you to choose. Would you like to go set A or set B?
A.
Okie doke. Right, let's batter through this, shall we? Full-time quiz starts now with Dylan. Question 1. Who scored the first goal of Martin O'Neill's interim tenure? So the first goal against Falkirk.
Kenny, what?
Johnny Kenny,
Yeah.
correct. Well done. 1-0 Dylan.
Dog.
Mr. Craig, how many clubs has Sean Maloney permanently managed in his career?
Two.
2 is correct.
Hibs and Wigan.
Hibs and Wigan. Well done.
Part of me was thinking 3, and I'm like, that couldn't think of a
Aye,
third
may as
team.
well just go with the 2, you know.
Aye.
Well, good. Question 2, Mr. Murdoch. How many permanent managers have had 2 spells at the club in Celtic's history?
Oh, in history? Oof.
So how many managers have had 2 spells at the club permanently?
Good question. Lennon, Rogers. I feel like we've not had that. I'm sure we remember us talking about not having that many managers in general. But
I think the next one will be the 20th permanent manager.
aye,
of the club.
so probably missed a few, but I'm just going to say 3.
Correct. Well done.
Who was the
You say-
other one?
Billy McNeil.
Billy McNeil, of course.
Billy
aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
So well done, Dylan. 2-1 up. This is a good start. Calum, how many players have started all 4 matches under O'Neill? This is why these questions where I'm just like, how do you even begin? So how many have started all 4 matches? So there's a max possibility of 11, of course. But not all 11 have, of course, done it. So I think
It's quite tricky, isn't it? Because you're
Yes.
talking about the like, players you're seen for the first time. So it's like,
aye.
Is it 4? Is it 5?
It's 6.
6? Fuck me, I didn't think it was many.
Schmeichel, Scales, Trusty, McGregor, Tenecti and Kenny.
I didn't think I don't know why I thought Tenecti. I
Who's
can
the
make him
other
off the
one? Did you miss
bench.
another one? Or did,
I could have between 4 or 5. So aye. Kenny was definitely.
Well,
I don't get that wrong as well.
don't forget, question 3, Dylan. We will soon play Feyenoord once again. Which 2 players scored in our last game against them in a 2-1 win at Celtic Park against Arne Slot's Feyenoord?
Forgetting he was there.
I was flying back for Tenerife this game and I landed in it for the last 5 minutes. I missed the game because I was in the air.
Lago Bielka.
Correct.
Oh, who the fuck scored the first? Ah, no.
In fact, this was only 2 years ago, by the way.
I know, man. Who scored the first? That's a great question.
I think you're going to kick yourself if you don't get it. But at the same time, I would have completely forgot this as well.
No, because I think it was a penalty, but I can't remember who our penalty taker was. I'm sure it was a penalty. Who was our front three? Was it Palmer?
It was Palmer.
Palmer?
It was Palmer.
I just think Palmer take a penalty because he missed
Nice.
someone. I was like,
3 out of 3 so far, Dylan.
come on.
So, Calum, the pressure is on a wee bit. Scotland could reach their first World Cup since 1998 this week. Who did Celtic employ as our manager that summer? And I will give you a clue. I have mentioned his name on this podcast tonight.
Wait, what was the question?
Who was appointed Celtic manager in the summer of 1998?
Doctor.
Dr. Venglos is correct. Congrats. Good answer. Right. Question 4, Dylan. To put the pressure on Calum big time. True or false? Callum McGregor has scored under every manager in his time at Celtic, both permanent and interim.
So when did he make it? Dyler was his debut, I think. wasn't it?
Dyler was his first.
Dyler, Rogers. Then, it's got to be true, innit? True.
It's
Over
false.
this somebody? Oh,
Is
no.
Is it Kennedy?
It's Kennedy.
Ah, I
Never
thought that.
scored under Kennedy.
Because as soon as you said interim, that's what my first thought went.
So you were close, but no cigar. Right. So Callum, this is huge because you can equalise and take it to a question 5 here. True or false? A win next week against St Mirren would be the first time Celtic have won 4 straight domestic games this season. True or false?
Fuck. I just can't think right. Fuck me.
Put it this way, if you managed to get close to a haircut, have we won 5 games in a row?
That poor bleep, man, you, man.
So it was true or false?
True or false? True or false? A win next week would be the. True or false? A win next week against St Mirren would be the first time Celtic have won 4 straight domestic games this season.
False.
Correct, because they won the first 4 games of the season.
I was thinking that. I was trying to remember the first 4 run.
There you go. Right, Dylan, question 5. To get 4 out of 5, which 2 players in the same position have the same squad number but the digits are flipped?
Ooh.
So, for example...
Sir actually Tierney.
Yes! Quite good answer, well done.
Actually, for the life of me, I would not have thought Sriracha's number.
No. Right, so Calum, to take it to a tiebreaker or to lose... Who is Martin O'Neill's most used player in his entire managerial career? And to give you a clue, don't bother thinking about Aston Villa, don't bother thinking about Leicester. It is a Celtic player. Well, actually, maybe think about Leicester. I don't know, but think about Celtic.
I feel like there's the one glaring, obviously one. That it then wouldn't be them. It's probably wrong, but only because of what you'd said. Is it Neil Lennon?
That is Neil.
Because of the Leicester shout.
Maybe I gave it away a wee bit too much there. Maybe I gave it away a wee bit too much.
I thought Larson's too on the nose. To the fact that, no.
That's what meant, because I felt like I was like shit. The reason I had to throw that in is because I said don't think about Leicester, so I was like, no, that's bad.
Because you took Lennon.
Right, okay, tiebreaker. Let's.
Bloody Calum.
I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, right? And you need to shout a number. Like and that's it. We're not going to do any thinking. You're just going to have to shout a number, right? So the question is this: if you were to add up all of the goals scored so far across Group C of the World Cup qualifiers, which is Denmark, Scotland, Greece, and Belarus, how many goals have been scored between all 4 teams? So all 4 teams is goals scored.
Just our group,
just in our group, right? So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and you give me a number, right? 3, 2, 1.
35.
12.
12? Oh.
I don't feel we've had any big scoring games.
Are you just thinking of Scotland? Because I said all 4 teams.
Oh, fuck.
Let's go. Okay, I'll give you a second go. He's went 35. Go.
Fuck knows. 28.
28. Right. I was like, 12? So Denmark have scored 12 themselves. Right. So Denmark.
I don't know. I didn't understand that.
You said 35.
Question.
You said 28. Mm-hmm. Denmark have scored 12. Scotland have scored 7. That takes us to 19. Ooh. Greece have then scored another 7, which takes us to 26.
So over.
Oh, the Belarus though.
And Belarus have only scored 2, so the correct answer is 28. 28.
No, we'll split that a point and even there. I fucked up my part. We'll take a point a piece there.
To be fair, you got to spot on, but spot on. You got to really complain.
You got to spot on. Well done, boys. Good show. Love that. Brilliant. Right, we are going to try and fart out a quick Thunder Club so he can get up the road and get his dinner, and Dylan can go and drive his motor at high speeds in the motorway. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. Cheerio.